I like this place.
Me too. I like you more.
Always.
Always.
She was just another maid, invisible, cleaning up after the mess of the rich and powerful. Her job was to fold napkins, stay out of sight, and blend into the background. But in a world where she was meant to be unseen, one person saw her, and he wasn't just anyone. He was Arjun Mehra, the heir to $1 billion empire, the man whose name alone could command a room. Naina's hands trembled every time she polished the silverware. Her uniform was her armor, her silence, her shield. She was used to being overlooked, a ghost in the grand mansion. The wealthy guests would walk past her without a glance, their conversations a world away from her own. But Arjun was different. He broke the unspoken rules. Week after week, he'd find a moment to talk to her. "Have you eaten today, Naina?" he'd ask, his voice low and kind. He noticed the slight limp she had one Tuesday after twisting her ankle. A small, almost imperceptible smile would grace his lips when she'd shyly whisper good morning as he passed. His kindness was a quiet rebellion in the house that felt cold and empty. The other staff started to notice. They'd whisper in the kitchens, their eyes darting between Naina and Arjun. His fiancée, the beautiful and powerful Priyanka, would roll her eyes with disdain whenever she saw them interact. She saw Naina as nothing more than the help and annoyance. Naina tried to convince herself it was nothing. He's just a kind man, she'd think. Maybe he's just bored with his gilded life. She was a fleeting distraction, a momentary curiosity. But then, one evening, everything changed. Tucked between her cleaning supplies, she found a small, folded note. The handwriting was sharp and decisive. It read, "Meet me on the terrace." Midnight, her heart hammered against her ribs. This was dangerous. This was reckless. But she went. He was there, waiting under a sky full of stars. There were no grand romantic gestures, no champagne, no roses. It was just him, Arjun, stripped of his title, looking at her as if she was the only person in the world. "I know this makes no sense," he began, his voice soft, his gaze unwavering. "But when you're around, I feel like I'm not performing. I feel... ... That night, under the vast, silent sky, he leaned in and kissed her. It was a kiss that sealed their fate, a moment that shattered the invisible walls between their worlds. Their love became a secret, a series of stolen moments in a house full of eyes. They were a whisper in an empty hallway, a fleeting brush of hands as she served dinner, a shared glance across a crowded room. He would leave her books she had once mentioned in passing, small tokens that screamed he was listening, that she mattered. Naina lived in a beautiful, terrifying fantasy. She kept telling herself, this has to end. It can't last. And she was almost right. The day of Arjun and Priyanka's official engagement party arrived. The mansion was transformed, dripping with opulence. Hundreds of guests, a sea of diamonds and designer gowns, filled the grand ballroom. The flash of cameras from the media was blinding. Arjun's mother was beaming with pride, her son's future secured, and Priyanka, a vision in a stunning red dress, sipped champagne, the queen of her perfectly curated world. Naina stood in a corner, a tray of appetizers in her hands, her heart cracking with every passing second. This was it. This was the end of their dream. She was just the maid, watching the man she loved promise himself to another. She was watching a fantasy crumble into a bitter reality. Then, Arjun took the microphone. A hush fell over the room. Every eye was on him, the golden heir, about to make the speech of the night. He smiled politely, a perfect, practiced smile. And then, his eyes scanned the room, past the glittering crowd, past the expectant faces, until they landed on her. Right at I was told tonight is about celebrating love, he began, his voice clear and strong. But I've realized something over the past few months. I've been pretending to love someone to please my family, to keep the peace. But I can't lie anymore. A collective gasp swept through the room. Priyanka's perfect smile froze, turning into a mask of disbelief and fury. Arjun turned his body slightly, and with a deliberate, shocking movement, he pointed directly at Naina. "I don't love the woman I'm supposed to marry," he declared, his voice ringing with conviction. "I love her." Silence. Deafening. Absolute silence. Then, every head in the room swiveled. Hundreds of pairs of eyes, shocked, judgmental, curious, were suddenly fixed on the girl in the maid's uniform. Naina's tray, forgotten in her hands, clattered to the marble floor, the sound echoing the shattering of her world. "You're humiliating me," Priyanka hissed through clenched teeth, her voice a venomous whisper. Arjun didn't even look at her. He simply replied, his tone calm but final. "No. I'm setting myself free." And then, he did the unthinkable. He walked away from the stage, away from his fiancée, away from his family's expectations. He crossed the vast ballroom floor, his every step a defiance of their world. He walked right up to Naina, who stood frozen, trembling. And in front of everyone, the media, the elite, the whispers, the judgment, he knelt down on one knee. "Naina," he said, his eyes locking with hers, full of a love that was raw and real. "I don't care where you come from. I don't care what they think. I only care about what I feel when you look at me. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Naina's face. She looked at the room, a blur of disapproving faces and flashing cameras. She saw the shock, the disgust, the gossip already forming on their lips. Then she looked back at him, the one person in this entire world who had ever truly seen her, not for her uniform, but for her soul. And with a voice shaking with emotion but filled with certainty, she said, "Yes." Because true love doesn't see status or wealth. It sees courage. It defies rules and shatters expectations. It's a story about finding your voice, even when you've been told to be silent. If you believe in a love that breaks all the rules, make sure you like this video and subscribe to LoveAndUs. We bring you more stories that will break your heart and then put it back together again. Thanks for watching.